Yes, it is Tuesday, but I'm hoping that song helped you out a little bit. War is the Answer from Five Finger Death Punch. I didn't realize they have been a band for the past 20 years now, since 2006. And, well, because of that, they just announced a tour this morning, and they're going to be making their way to the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. You know, the USANA Amphitheater. Five Finger Death Punch bringing the 20th anniversary world tour to that venue with Cody Jinks and Eva Under Fire, September 22nd. That show is now on our concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. What a unique opener. Cody Jinks and then Five Finger Death Punch. I'm imagining that crowd right now. But we have this loyal listener by the name of Jeff. He's been on the air with us a whole bunch of times. He calls in quite a lot to request specifically Five Finger Death Punch, Wash It All Away. But he is also he asks every single time he requests that song, have you heard anything from Five Finger Death Punch, if they're coming to the area or not? And well, finally today, they announced a show. The last time that they were in Salt Lake with Megadeth, The Who, and Fire from the Gods, Jeff couldn't make it to the show. I don't think he had a ride down to Salt Lake, which really sucked, but I'm so excited for him that now he has the opportunity again, finally, to go see his favorite band, Five Finger Death Punch. I thought about Jeff when I chose that song for today. Hopefully he's tuned in right now. And if he's not, if he calls in later, because I'm sure he will, I'll make sure to break the news to him that Five Finger Death Punch, again, is coming to the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater September 22nd with Cody Jinks and Eva Under Fire. That show, again, is on our concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. There's also a shortcut to that calendar by going to the K-Bear 101 app. Open up the menu, click on concert calendar. It'll take you directly to it. Peach's Pit Party will continue here in just a few on K-Bear 101. There's a trending app that literally asks if you're dead, and people are downloading the heck out of it. It's called Are You Dead? That's the name. It's shot to the top of China's paid Apple App Store charts. Users have to check in every couple of days by tapping this big button to confirm they're still alive. Fail to tap it 2 days in a row, and on the third day, it automatically alerts your emergency contact that you assigned to the app, I think. The idea, it's a safety check-in for people who live alone, especially in big cities where people worry about dying without anyone noticing. Think of it like a digital life alert for the solo life era. Now, of course, critics are split. Some find the name, just completely grim. Others say it's just practical. Either way, it's climbing charts, sparking debates, making people ask the question nobody expected an app to ask, are you actually alive? I always fear that myself. I fear that some crazy medical emergency is going to happen. I do live alone. I'm afraid, something's going to happen drastically to me and I fall to the floor, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to contact my girlfriend or contact somebody within the vicinity to come help me, type of thing. Is that bad? Do I need to go get a life alert type thing? Do I need to get this app? Make my girlfriend download it too? My biggest fear, I've talked about this many times on the show, is somehow something happens to me in my sleep. Now, I know you don't want to picture this. Again, I apologize. My biggest fear is that I'll fall asleep, I'll go to bed, I won't wake up, and then somebody finds me in my undies with my CPAP on, looking like Fat Bane. That's one of my biggest fears. Let's brighten things up right now. Let's move on from that. Royal Bliss by my side on K-Bear 101. All right, I just saw this question, figured we would go through it together. What are some rich people things that poor people haven't heard of? Us everyday people, somebody commented on this thread. I know a billionaire who wanted swans swimming in the pond outside his home, but was disappointed when their feathers molted and they looked scruffy. He uses a swan rental service that rotates out the swans periodically so they always look pristine. Imagine having one of the only stressors of your day being, man, if these swans don't look fresh enough today, get me some new ones. He's yelling at some assistant, yelling at somebody, and this person has to make a frantic phone call to a swan rental service. Do we have one of those nearby? Swan rental services near me. I feel like, of course not. Oh, of course, Google doesn't know what to do, especially their AI overview. It's telling me more about Idaho water sports. And then there's also these renegade boat rentals, those swan boats that you can pedal across a pond. I got that popping up. Another one here, my sister cleans houses in Phoenix. One of her clients was diagnosed with cancer and asked her if she would look after her dog if she passed. About a year later, she died, and her estate provided my sister with a $36,000 a year $36,000 a year to take care of the dog as long as the dog is alive. The dog now lives with her and her fiance. All she has to do is Zoom with an attorney every 3 months to show the dog is alive and well, and she gets $9,000 for the next 3 months. The house was resold, and she still cleans the house. Oh, good for you is basically what I got out of that. What are some rich people things that poor people haven't heard of? I worked landscaping for rich folks in the Denver, Colorado area, and I heard of a family that built a miniature town in a sunken location and flooded it with water so they could scuba dive through it. These things we'll never get to do in our lifetime unless we know these people. All right. This is why you should become friends with everybody in your high school class. You never know what loser in your grade is all of a sudden going to become the next Steve Jobs. And who knows, maybe you'll get some money watching after their dog or whatever. I was scrolling Facebook and I was laughing at all the LA radio DJs that are talking about this new global study by this company called Stasher. Never heard of them ever, but they just analyzed over 100 landmarks, and the results are in. The Hollywood Walk of Fame has been ranked the #1 worst tourist attraction in the world. The report gave it a measly 2.67 out of 10, pointing to safety concerns and distance from the airport. The Walk of Fame is actually a tourist trap. I was talking with my girlfriend preparing for this whole trip. She's never been to California, never seen the ocean, never seen, what's even worse is downtown LA. And I was talking to her about, hey, if somebody walks up to you with a CD, don't acknowledge them. Just look down and keep going. She is very social. I know who to be social with and who not to be social with. I know who's trying to sell me something. I know who's trying just to be a friend. And downtown LA is full of people just trying to scam you. And it absolutely sucks. And it's just full of people who just want to get in your way and talk to you. And it's like, don't bother me. Pretend I'm not even here. Go bother somebody else. I can't imagine waking up and going, you know what? I'm excited to go to work today. I feel like it's going to be a great day. I'm excited to press my CD onto people and then say, okay, now hand me $20 for that CD. You know that classic scam. There are these other scams making the rounds now where like a supposed monk will hand you a bracelet and say it's free, but then they ask for a donation, but the donation is mandatory, that type of thing. The Walk of Fame is just a whole bunch of stars on the ground while you're trying to battle. Basically, you ever been to Walmart on a very busy day? You're trying to battle around people who are trying to do the same thing you are, mixed with people who are just homeless, mixed with people who are trying to sell you things. You got cracked out Elmo trying to take a picture with you, and if Elmo does get in your picture, you have to hand that person like $30. Hollywood overall deserves a 2.67 out of 10. To celebrate LeBron James' record-setting 23rd NBA season, the Lakers added a special commemorative patch to his jersey for last night's game. The design featured his iconic pregame Choctaw silhouette alongside 3 stripes representing his time with the Cavaliers, Heat, and Lakers. After every game LeBron plays for the rest of this season, the patch will be removed from his jersey and authenticated by Topps to be embedded into special trading cards, turning a piece of on-court history into a permanent collector's item. I wonder how much one of those is going to go for. Next week's college football championship game is looking to be the most expensive title game ever. The cheapest tickets for the January 19th game at Miami's Hard Rock Stadium are selling for $3,600, which is nearly double the cheapest price to get into Ohio State and Notre Dame last year. The high prices are driven by a couple of factors. Indiana is playing in its first national championship game, and it has the largest living alumni base with over 805,000 former Hoosiers around the world. And this is the first time that a championship game will be played in the home stadium of one of the teams taking part, so Miami fans are doing all they can to get in. A brawl broke out on the ice during a game at the Giant Arena in Hershey, Pennsylvania on Saturday, but it wasn't between the Hershey Bears and Cleveland Monsters. It was during the Hershey Bears Mites on Ice intermission segment, which features players 8 years old and under. Players from the Central Penn Panthers Youth Ice Hockey Club began fighting as the AHL teams were in their dressing rooms. The Atlantic Amateur Hockey Association said that appropriate disciplinary action will be taken against those players and team officials involved with the staged fight after an investigation. Central Penn also pledged an internal review to fully understand the circumstances surrounding the incident and added that the safety, well-being, and positive experience of all participants, especially the young players, are of utmost importance. Now, could you imagine being the parent of one of those 8-year-olds? You just have to, give that scowl to that other kid. What if your kid's the loser in that fight? I wonder if that parent tried fighting the other parent or something like that after the whole thing was over. Anyway, that does it for your Shot Clock Sports Update right here on K-Bear 101. Peach's Pit Party on K-Bear 101. We are proud to support those who serve our community every day. I still have a tough time saying that word, community, every day. On Wednesday, February 5th at noon, the Greater Idaho Falls Police Foundation will host its annual Law Enforcement Appreciation Luncheon at Melaleuca headquarters in Idaho Falls. Join community leaders and local businesses as we recognize outstanding service and leadership from the Idaho Falls Police Department, Bonneville County Sheriff's Office, and the Idaho State Police. If you're wanting to learn more, tickets and sponsorships are available now with proceeds benefiting the Greater Idaho Falls Police Foundation. Make sure to go check out ifpolicefoundation.org. Let's do some sleep token now. It's Granite. I think I saw the trailer for this a while back. This new show on TLC. I just found out today, by the way, that TLC is the Learning Channel. That's what TLC stands for. I've watched way too much wrestling back in my day to think that it's tables, ladders, and chairs, a TLC match. But TLC has a new show. It just debuted, I think, today or yesterday, called Suddenly Amish. And if you haven't heard of it, it's basically where a bunch of modern-day adults, people with iPhones, DoorDash accounts, emotional support, Stanley Cups, you name it, they decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to be Amish. They decide they're going to try to be Amish. No phones, no nothing, just chores, farming, and that's it. They're all like, I just want a simpler life. Oh, you do? But I would think that the strenuous farming lifestyle like that with no access to any electricity whatsoever, anything like that, would be kind of difficult, right? You're telling me these people are actually going to commit to it too? No Instagram, no Spotify, no let me just Google that real quick. I cannot imagine. Just lock up your phone in a box. See how long you last. And that's my favorite part about this is that they swear this isn't a stunt. Someone actually said, oh no, I could really see myself becoming Amish. Could you? Today we churn butter for 9 hours. You're going to be like, that's my life. I'm excited for it. In this moment, they've been here a few times now. I really liked their show with Ice Nine Kills. I thought that was great. Ice Nine Kills is going to be releasing a new album at some point this year. And they're also writing a horror movie or something like that. I don't know if they're writing it or if they're filming it this year and they plan to release it towards the beginning of next year. I'm not exactly sure, but it is quite funny anytime you see a metal musician on the big screen, especially the dudes in Five Finger Death Punch. I remember when the Retaliators movie came out and that was supposed to be a giant deal. I watched it. It was pretty mid. It wasn't sucky. It was just mid, but you could tell who were the actors and who were the musicians. Spencer Charnas can act, definitely. Well, we've seen that time and time again, but when you had Zoltan Bathory of Five Finger Death Punch, when you see him in that movie, you can barely understand what he's saying, let alone his acting skills or his acting chops are not necessarily good either. I'm not saying I would be a great actor either. I think I would suck at it way more so. I think I'd be a whole lot worse than Zoltan myself. I have been listening big time to my old air checks from when I first started, maybe even earlier to back when I was in college radio, and oh my goodness, is it bad. It's awful. I can't imagine myself on the big screen at all. Let's play some Daughtry, The Bottom here on K-Bear 101. This could make for a great to peach their own question just to see what people's personal stories are for this type of thing. Which popular U.S. town does everyone love but you absolutely hate? Like, you just went through there and went, that people like that? You know, Austin, Texas has become one of those cities where everybody has flocked to, and now it's ruined, right? Austin has become the very thing it swore to destroy. Tech bros overwhelmed the Austin weird. Nashville, same thing. Another answer here on this thread. My friend Zach and his wife are living in Mount Juliet, Tennessee, who's relatively close to Nashville. And Nashville, same thing. A lot of people just moved there because of the 2020 pandemic mess and all that. People just wanted to get out of major cities like New York City, Chicago, Southern California. They all moved to places like Austin and Nashville, and now they're both ruined. Phoenix, why would anyone choose to live there? Shout out to Victor's daughter who lives out in Phoenix. I mean, here's the thing. If the rock radio station in Arizona offered me a bunch of money, I would easily go over there. Other than that, I see no reason in living in Arizona. Really, the temperatures seem way too hot. I hate hot weather. I hate it. I hate when it's like 80 degrees out, let alone 140, like it is in Phoenix. Why would anyone choose to live in the desert? You're one electrical failure away from dying in Phoenix, Arizona. Your AC goes out, you're done for. I mean, your place is going to boil you alive. Vegas, another city, which popular U.S. town does everyone love, but you absolutely hate. Las Vegas, overrated, overpriced, and now it's really paying the consequence of being overrated and overpriced because they're trying to charge people like $9 for water right now, and Vegas is not really seeing many tourists anymore. So, yeah, unless they drastically change their ways, I don't see them being successful in the near future. I see Sedona, Arizona on this thread. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. What? Gatlinburg, is that how you say it? Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Okay, neat. Good question there. I just liked reading that thread. It's a slow news day. I apologize. I'm just like scouring the internet for anything I can remotely talk about whatsoever. How about I play some Shinedown Searchlight? There was some weird stuff going on with Ivan Moody. Not necessarily himself. I'm talking about how the vocalist or the former vocalist, maybe still the vocalist for Motor Grader. Is that how you say it? Motor Grader? Is that the band name? I didn't know that band at all back in the day. I didn't. I listened to very early Five Finger Death Punch, and I've known Ivan to be the front man of Five Finger, not Motor Grader or Moto Grader, however you say it. But I guess it was there was speculation online that Ivan Moody would be joining Motor Grader again. Turns out that was false. I think the lead singer of Motor Grader, after he made some statement in an Instagram comment, retracted it and said, "Oh, I actually didn't mean that," or whatever. And so, Five Finger Death Punch also announced today that giant tour with Cody Jinks and Eva Under Fire for the late summertime of this year. One of those shows is going to be in Salt Lake City at the Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. The guy who replaced Steve Perry in Journey, I'm talking about this story now. Arnel Pineda, is that how you say his name? He has sparked speculation about his role in Journey's 2026 farewell tour after drummer Dean Castronovo shared a photo on Instagram from their 49ers halftime show. Arnel Pineda commented saying, "Congratulations and have fun on your 2026 farewell tour." He used your instead of our, immediately caught fans' attention, with some asking him to stay, others saying they would rethink their tickets if he's not involved. Business Insider reports the farewell run is set for February to July of this year across more than 60 North American dates. Is Journey coming anywhere close? I think they are. I think that might also be in our concert calendar at riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. You know what? If Steve Perry makes his return to Journey, I don't care if I'm the youngest person at the venue, I would easily go to that show just to say I watched Journey with the original lead singer. Nothing against Arnel, but he's just not Journey to me. I know last year when the Eastern Idaho State Fair had Journey come to the area, I was like, I'm not going to watch it. That's a Journey tribute band at this point. I'm not going to watch, Journey karaoke. I want to see Steve Perry perform the songs. But if he stepped out and Steve Perry's in, I'm all for it. All right. Let me check the concert calendar, as a matter of fact, because I could have sworn they were coming to the area. riverbendmediagroup.com/calendar. There's also a shortcut to it via the K-Bear 101 app. Yes, they're going to be at the Delta Center April 12th, the Extra Mile Arena April 14th. Journey's Final Frontier, hopefully with Steve Perry. Again, I don't care if I'm the largest, youngest person in there. I'm going to have my phone flashlight in the air, going, waving it back and forth to Faithfully. I would love it. You ever try to persuade somebody in your life to go to a restaurant with you, and then you guys finally go to that restaurant, and that restaurant is just a major letdown? Like, it's potentially the worst restaurant you have ever been to. The reason why I'm asking this is because I last night finally went to this restaurant with Aubrey, and me and her have been talking about it for a while now. We've been talking about this one particular place. No, I'm not going to name them on the air, just to protect them, We went there finally, and we regretted we did, because the menu was small. There was nobody else in there. Usually I'm excited if a place has nobody inside of it, but sometimes if you go into a restaurant, there's nobody in there, you're like, okay, something's fishy here. Why is nobody in this place at all? I guess there was nobody for a while, because as soon as we walked in, the guy behind the counter all of a sudden popped up and ran to the register. And we decided to get 2 dishes that shouldn't be all that difficult to make. The 2 that should be flavorful, should be really good if done right. Well, the red flag already was that mine was supposed to come with ranch. It's a prominent part of the dish. Well, they were out of ranch. And I was finding it hard to believe that they were out of ranch because of so many customers coming in and ordering that dish with the ranch, to the point where they ran out of that. I could not imagine that. So I wondered why exactly they were already out of ranch at like prime time, dinner time. And then after that, we sat down, waited a little bit, got our food. It was in these flimsy plastic to-go containers, like meal prep containers from Dollar Tree. They didn't come in like they didn't come in a plate. They didn't come in like a styrofoam fold-out box, a to-go box, those. No, it came in a meal prep container. We opened them both up, and the meat looked like cat food. It looked like something we would do on Brad Eats, or Victor Eats now, since Brad's not here. The meat itself was not good at all. It was quite awful. It was so bad. The food was so bad that I decided to re-download the Yelp app to give them a review. I decided to revive my old account. It still had a profile picture of me from 2014, 2015 on there. And I left a 1-star review. Oh, man, it was that bad. Have you ever had a restaurant do something like that to you, to the point where you're like, you know what? They need to know how bad they are. And I don't regret typing out any word, typing out anything whatsoever in that review. They fully deserved it. This right here is today's What the Headline. Doctors in China, they were apparently left stunned after this man showed up to the hospital with severe abdominal pain. Scans revealed the issue was a sweet potato. Now, listen, I don't want to get graphic, but I will say this. That sweet potato was not where sweet potatoes traditionally go. As a matter of fact, it was going in through the exit, if you catch my drift. According to the doctors, the man admitted this all happened out of boredom, which is wild because boredom usually makes people scroll Facebook, not shove sweet potatoes where the sun don't shine, or they watch 3 hours of a show, something like that. They don't experiment with root vegetables. Late at night, bored, alone with produce, he then went to sleep, which, bold choice, woke up in intense pain. That definitely checks out. That's the most predictable ending I've ever heard. He tried to fix the situation himself. That did not work, so eventually he had to go to the hospital and explain this to a room full of professionals who went to medical school for this exact moment. Imagine being the doctor on call, like, cool, I trained for 12 years for a sweet potato emergency. How did they get it out? Did they get like a giant pair of tweezers? What happened there? Does it say? I don't think it does. Dang it. I wish I knew. That's today's What the Headline right here on K-Bear 101. So CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, I believe that's what it stands for, just wrapped up in Las Vegas. That's the big tech convention where companies show off stuff we definitely do not need, but somehow end up wanting. I talked about the AI fridge that won Worst in Show, and this year the big theme was practical AI, technology that actually helps with everyday life. They had insane TVs, robots that fold your laundry, which honestly we've been promised for like 15 years now. And then there's this new one that really caught my attention. There's now a smart toilet attachment. It clips on to almost any toilet. It's basically a wellness accessory that analyzes your business in real time. Your toilet is now doing analytics. It uses sensors to measure hydration, then sends the data straight to your phone to let you know if you should be drinking more water, which on one hand is kind of cool. On the other hand, my toilet does not need Bluetooth. I don't need an app notification that says, hey, buddy, maybe grab a glass of water. I already drink enough water. I feel like the thing might say I'm too hydrated. Imagine explaining this to someone from like 1997. You go back in time and say, yeah, the future is just wild. Your toilet texts you about your pee. Does it do the other business too? I don't want to get into the details of this. Never mind. Let's do some Evanescence right now. Fight Like a Girl. I just talked about that one question on Reddit. What popular city do most people love? Does everyone love, but you just hate it? New York City. Certainly my answer. It does have the best pizza. I will give you that. The East Coast has the best pizza. Sorry, Los Angeles. I think the LA pizza scene is absolutely atrocious. I've talked about that many times on the show about how they put broccoli and all these different, what's it called? Artisanal vegetables on top of the pizza. It's stupid. New York, classic way to do so, classic way to have pizza. I'm now getting apartment tours for places in New York City. I got to be honest, I don't understand why anyone would want to live there. I truly don't. New York sucks. These apartment tours keep popping up in my feed, and every single one is somehow worse than the last. They're like, welcome to this cozy one bedroom. And then the camera pans out, and it's a hallway. There's no space. There's nothing. Your bed is in the kitchen. Your couch is in the bathroom. Your closet is a suggestion. And the guy narrating these tours is always just way too excited. He's like, check this out. Tons of natural light. Well, who cares? There's no place to put anything. There's literally nowhere else to put the window. Then he hits you with the great for entertaining. Who? You and your imaginary friends? And then every single time they casually drop the rent. Like it's no big deal. So they're like, this one's going to be about $4,000 a month to live inside a shoebox. For that price, I better have a doorman, a chef, someone whose full-time job is telling me it's going to be okay. I don't get it. People are like, it's the city energy. That's stress. That's sirens, garbage, a rat that pays rent before you do. I'll take space, walls. I'll take not having to choose between opening the fridge or the oven. New York can keep that, all right? I'm good. Thanks for listening to Peach's Pit Party, the podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. Peach's Pit Party is hosted by me, Peaches, a.k.a. Brenden Peach, and is a production of Riverbend Media Group. For more information or to contact the show, visit riverbendmediagroup.com. Until next time, Peach out.